here we go. So let's welcome to subtopic of timeline. I know it sounds weird, but this is you have to have this topic right here when you're studying timelines, or they don't make any sense. We're going to be talking about timelines dealing with AD and BC.
Don't you think we should say BC first?
Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because BC is before Christ, and that is going to be on the left side of your timelines.
That's way, way, way back in history. So let's little quiz here. If Jesus was born about 2,053 years ago, we can say that, can't we?
Yeah, we don't really
circa,
know. Yeah.
circa, C-I-R-C-A. That means about or around.
Circa, C-I-R-C-A.
He was born 2,053 years ago. Then we're talking about everything before that.
Right.
All time.
So it happens on the number line. We'll probably get into this later. If you were looking in math class, you would be in the negative number. BC is negative numbers. You're counting backwards.
That's right.
To get older. And then you have AD, which is pronounced Anno Domini.
Anno Domini.
The two, you can say it either way.
And here's what that's a Latin phrase, and it means in the year of our Lord, which means this is when Jesus was born.
Okay, so how did people change time? So countries and cultures are different.
You know, different countries have different languages, and they sometimes celebrate different holidays.
They like to eat different foods.
And they can even wear different clothing, guys.
People have also used different calendars, and that's where we're at.
Absolutely. We're going to look at many different calendars over the course of this year. For example, some cultures have used 7 days in a week like us.
But others, they've used like 10 days in a week.
Exactly. Some of them have 365 days in a year, Coach, but other calendars have had fewer days in a year.
Now, often in history, the leader of a civilization, they will decide what calendar to use. Sometimes they name it after themselves. Watch this.
And that's a big thing, guys. They get to decide their religion, the tax policy, what calendar they're using, all of these things. Over 2,000 years ago, 2 millennia ago, we talked about millennium, so we know what that word means. The leader of the Roman Empire, Julius Caesar, decided on a calendar.
His empire used a calendar. Watch this. But was not very accurate, all right?
Later, during the 16th century, so that's what year would be in the 16th century, Coach?
So all the things that start with 15. So
yep.
1501, 1502.
So the 1500s. The leader of the Catholic Church, Pope Gregory XIII, he will establish a new calendar.
And it's called the Gregorian calendar. You should like that, Gregorian.
The Gregorian
calendar.
The Gregorian calendar is going to be based on the life of Jesus Christ.
All right. So let's ask you, this is a really great question that I know some of y'all are thinking about, is when you're looking at a timeline, why do we count backwards on the timeline?
Absolutely. So notice the Gregorian calendar counts down to the birth of Jesus and counts forward after his death.
And there is no year zero.
Nope. Zero's not a number.
That's right.
Zero's not a number. So the dates before Jesus' birth are called, this is big, guys, it's called BC, like the headache powder.
Right.
I need BC when I sit close to him.
I don't know what you mean by that, but let's continue. All right, remember what it means, it stands for, is before Christ or before Jesus.
That's exactly right. The dates after Jesus' birth are called AD.
All right, and AD stands for, let's say it together,
Anno Domini. Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
So,
all right.
Anno Domini or Anno Domini? You decide.
All right.
Anno Domini. Try to spell it right. And again, it means in the year of our Lord.
All right, so this is a Latin phrase. It means in the year of our Lord. And so we got BC, before Christ, AD, in the year of our Lord. And here's a common misconception about AD. People believe that it means after death. Before Christ, after death. There's a problem there. Jesus lived somewhere around 33 years on earth before he was crucified and killed. So that means that if BC is before Christ was born and AD was after his death, what about those other 33 years where he lived? That's why AD is not after death.
Well, historians, what we found is they kind of mess things up. The Pope who designed this timeline, this calendar here under the Gregorian calendar, missed Jesus' birth and maybe his death by a few years. All right, but we still use the calendar, right now, today.
Almost everyone on the planet today uses the Gregorian calendar.
All right, so what if you see a year with no AD or BC? What's going to happen?
Well, normally 1978 with no designation means AD, not BC. So we're talking about our current position on the timeline.
So if there's nothing beside the date, that means it's after Jesus.
That's exactly right.
That's right. It means so AD after Jesus, felt like saying 2020. We live in 2020.
All right. So now there's some other words, or you'll see some other indicators for time that may be a little bit different, and here they are. One is CE, and the other one is BCE. Coach, why don't you tell us a little bit about CE?
All right, so CE means exactly the same as AD. All right, but what it stands for, CE. And you have to think about, remember, there's lots of different people in the world with different cultures, different ideas. In some places, they don't recognize Jesus as that valuable of a person. If you live in a Christian nation where there's Christians everywhere, there's Catholics everywhere, there's someone who worships Jesus, there's like, oh yes, Jesus is the reason for everything. Well, let's say you go to a Muslim country, and there's a lot of them out there, or you go to a Buddhist country or Hindu country, they don't see Jesus as special as everybody else. So they may use CE, all right, which is AD, and what that means is the common time or the common era.
CE, common era. So if CE is now, then BCE would be, you guys are smart, I'm sure you guessed it, before the common era. So there we're talking about BC. BC and BCE are the same times. The difference in the two is the recognition of Jesus Christ.
Very good. All right. Any questions, comments? I think we're good. Huh?
I think we're good.
All
PGH.
Yes. Believe in
Let's
yourself.
go. And keep on dreaming.